So we're starting to compare not only two priesthoods, the Levitical and the Melchizedekian, because Yeshua would not qualify as a Levitical, but we're also going to be comparing the two temples, the one here in the physical and the one in the heavenlies. And that's going to be the focus going from chapter 7, 8, 9, like that, okay? Now, of course, if you hadn't had the context all the way through here, that we were dealing with a battle between, or not so much a battle, but a comparison of two different priesthoods, you would miss the simple point here. If you weren't understanding that, hey, well, I'm trying to make a case for Yeshua being a priest, and the people I'm talking to are thinking, but he's not a Levite. And I have to say, yes, I get that, because the priesthood he's part of doesn't require a genealogical lineage. There's not a change like Yahweh changed, and the law has changed in that way. These are necessary adjustments because of functionality, because of the situation. They were individuals up to a point. Then they became a whole nation. Remember that this is that incredible miracle. What other God is it that ever took a nation out of a nation? That's one of the verses. A nation was taken out of a nation. Well, the nation needed more than just a few guys, like 70 guys helping, etc. They were going to need a priesthood. And the Levites, a whole tribe, was going to do this. But now we're about to lose that whole function. The Torah did not perfect anything, though itself was perfect. Let's understand. It didn't perfect anything. Was anybody that ever walked Torah perfect? Were they made perfect because of it? No. Only one being has ever walked this earth that was perfect, and he did walk the Torah perfectly. The Torah is not the fault. It's the fleshly person trying to walk it. But he's trying to say that, look, the Torah, just because you kept Torah, the Torah didn't perfect anything. Okay, the Torah doesn't, that's not what it's there to do. It's to teach you how to develop a right way to love Him, your Creator, and to love each other, and to develop the integrity to make the adjustments when you fall short. Now that's a whole different thing than you're hearing on Sunday. Because after all, He's the guarantor of a better covenant, which means the other one wasn't good. No, this one is just more fully developed. It means that it's built upon. Wasn't there a Noahic covenant or an Adamic covenant or an Abrahamic covenant? Was there anything wrong with those covenants? No, but each one had to become more fully developed. It was stronger, not weaker. That also, by saying it the way I just read it to you, means that it has not yet been completed or accomplished. For all those who want to say it's done, it's finished, and blah, 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 blah. Because that includes all the things that He now as high priest is still doing. But when it reads it this other way, it talks about the Son having been perfected forever, like somehow it's the Son being perfected. No, it's giving Him a time to finish and accomplish and complete something. So the writer here is saying that Moses wasn't just showing a pattern like in writing, that he actually got to see a vision of what the heavenly temple looked like. Not that he physically got to be taken there, but he got to see this is what it looks like. But remember, he said, look, we're comparing in this whole book of Hebrews that all this thing that they're panicking about is not to be diminished, not to be offended or assaulted or whatever, or to minimize, but he's saying, look, what we're dealing with is a copy and a shadow. It's still important. It's still to be respected, but it's only, to put him in the right perspective, a copy and a shadow. By the way, this is happening not the minute after Yeshua was resurrected. Nowhere in this letter does the guy say, what's wrong with you, you idiots? When Yeshua died and was resurrected, we weren't supposed to need a temple anymore. Where's that verse? We weren't supposed to need to do sacrifices. Sacrifices were done away with. What's wrong with you? What are you, thick-headed? No, these people are being given instruction only now when there will not be a temple. By necessity now there's a change. And then they're saying, now you're ready to learn about your high priest in the heavens. Now you're ready to learn what the shadow was pointing to. Now you're ready for the next step in your developing your understanding, not altering and changing law. So be careful. If you've got an italicized word Don't just assume it's right. It's probably got the highest level, not always, but it's got a higher level of being mistranslated than the non-italicized because it's a word that the Greek doesn't even have, or the Hebrew doesn't have. It's a missing word that somebody's filling in as a language translation because the word in the Greek or the Hebrew might imply something, but it doesn't overtly say it, so they're filling in a blank. I'm sure that was something that was taught if you were in the military. It was taught in the martial arts. You want to get to the point where you can do without thinking. It's an automatic response, because if you have to think, you're dead. It's too late. And if you're thinking when it comes to Torah observance, it's the same thing. The more you think, the more you are getting involved, because you're thinking. Okay? And as soon as you get involved, you're in trouble, because then you start to rationalize to yourself, because you got yourself involved in the mix. But if you've gotten yourself so disciplined and trained, there's no thinking.